Hi, I'm Jason Gorb for ThatShelf.com, and we're here to talk about Record Store Day 2024.
Big shelf.
So there are many videos already on this channel talking about previous Record Store Days, but it is an annual celebration. I guess technically biannual if we count the Black Friday version, but this is the April iteration, the sort of OG Record Store Day, meant to celebrate independent record stores, brick and mortar stores that, 365 as it were, or at least close enough, are open to the public, that are really places not only for you to buy music, but actually engage often with very educated salespeople, at least one can hope, and do that wonderful thing that you can't get, frankly, with online or big box shopping, which is those sort of accidental finds, those tracks you walk in and you hear something that's playing on the stereo that you didn't know you would be falling in love with, all kinds of elements like that. I think it's a great celebration, and it's a great excuse for a bunch of labels, primarily indie labels, but also now majors, to release things that sort of feel special, feel sort of a chance to either get a Record Store Day first selection, which means something that might be a color variant or something like that, but might be released later in a sort of standard black vinyl variant. That happens all the time, and I've certainly showcased those a lot. Or exclusive. I have some of my favorite records are records that the version was only ever available on Record Store Day. Now, many of you can stay at home, let lunatics like me line up at 6 o'clock in the morning until the stores actually open, and then just go on Discogs or eBay or whatever and just buy it that way. Totally legitimate. But there's something to be said about the community, the sense of belonging. And as interesting as it is, Record Store Day has really taken over for me in a fundamental way. I just realized that this year. I used to stand in line all the time at most of my major festivals. I'd go to TIFF. I met some great friends in line at TIFF. I have friends that, met husband and wife now that met in line at TIFF. When I would go to Cannes, that was sort of the last one standing, where we didn't have sort of digital ticketing and you would always be in line. It was sort of a schlep, but nonetheless, you would get to know people around you. You had an hour to kill if you're at least being sociable. You actually had a way of engaging. And so now with this, you're meeting from people from all over, from many different cultures, many different communities, all looking for different music, because this year's Record Store Day slate was actually quite enormous. And you just get people they're engaged in a shared interest. I did actually at several locations. I'm here in Toronto, Canada, of course, and I was in line at Play a Record, at Sonic Boom, at Rotate This, and then at Pop Music. Those were the four that I tackled this year. And a sort of relatively small line at Play a Record. He opens, Eugene, go watch his doc. Eugene opens around 8 o'clock. There's a sort of set of diehards. He has about 5 crates. It's not a ton of stuff. His prices are a little bit more expensive, but I got no problem with that. It's an iconic store, and it's been around so long. It's best to give him some business and show the support there. I then go to Sonic Boom, which is something exceptional, and they continue to do it. They have the space to do it, but it is absolutely a game changer for me. And they started in COVID, which is if you're first in line, you're the first through the crates. If you're 10th in line, you're the 10th through the crates. That means if there's only 2 copies of something, and you're the second in line, you're going to get it. A lot of the others, and Sonic Boom used to be a nightmare, that they would just let in, 50, 100 people, whatever. It felt like 1,000 people rushing, people grabbing things. And so somebody who was way behind you in line is grabbing that one thing that you actually wanted, even though you had put in the time and effort to actually be there. Not ideal. So that's why a big shout out to the management at Boom that continues to do that. And then there's Rotate This, which has probably the most robust selection out of anybody. They seem to pull from everywhere to get their selection. So a lot of times when I can't find something elsewhere, it'll be at Rotate This. Again, if I've been third in line at Rotate This, and people 10 behind me got that one record that I wanted, so that's the only frustrated part. But during the year, Rotate This is an exceptional retailer, one that I support wholeheartedly. And the Pop Music, which is right near me. Again, Pop Music I would go to several times, especially during COVID. I was there when people were not going out in the rain and stuff like that. But now it's gotten crazy. I mean, there's so many people. I think it's just because this portion of the East End, the organizers there have really taken Record Store Day to another level in this part of the city. And I drive by at like 6:30 in the morning. There's already 100 people in line, way more than at Boom. And he puts everything online, what he's actually getting. Again, his prices are slightly higher than other places, but he had a pretty good selection. And so I managed after the fact to get some of the stuff at Pop Music, even in the mid-afternoon, that was still there. And again, for those that are going through some of this stuff, if you didn't have a chance to get it at your local store, those things do go online. You can go to many of these places. Sonic Boom has an online store. Cops has an online store. Pop Music has an online store that you can go to and pick this stuff up starting the morning after Record Store Day. So that is kind of the way that it works, is 8 a.m. the next day is when anything that's sort of left over, quote unquote, actually gets sold to the public. The big record that most people were in line for was actually a 45, an Olivia Rodrigo 45. I managed to pick one up for a friend. But I wanted to show you what specifically I picked up for me. There's a bunch of other stuff I could highlight, but I think that there's such a wide and diverse selection, as I said, that I am 100% buying records I wouldn't buy any other way other than them being showcased on Record Store Day. It is a strangely manipulative and yet curated situation, and that's part of the fun when you're actually a record collector like me. So let's crack open the first of these. We'll take out the outer sleeve, which I'll never use. Of course, I'm going to use Vinyl Storage Solutions. Plug, plug, plug. And this is Little Joe Sure Can Sing. This is indeed Joe Pesci. So it's a 1968 Joe Pesci record. The back shows he does Holiday by Bee Gees, Got to Get You in My Life by the Beatles, Stop and Say Hello, To Love Somebody again by the Bee Gees, Fool in the Hill, Fixin' a Hole, Let's Stop Fooling Ourselves, No More, Born to Be Blue, and The Sun Will Shine. Again, a bunch of Bee Gees and a bunch of Beatles records covered by Joe Pesci. Yes, please. I spent more on it than I probably should have, but I'm okay with that. It's a fun thing to own. I did actually listen to it. This sort of meets my adoration of Joe Pesci. All Hail Casino, the best film that Martin Scorsese ever made. But why not? When else was I going to be sort of in the mood to actually be picking this up? Why not in the absolute glut of things for Record Store Day? Inside, check this out. A Gotta Groove sleeve. Proper sleeve, audiophile sleeve in the Joe Pesci. Right from the beginning, where I'm actually getting a surprise. And a beautiful sort of colored variant. It's in the sort of general 1 mil rice paper sleeve, the ones that MoFi use, the ones that the QRP use. This one is from Gotta Groove Records. Sorry about that. My camera decided to stop recording. At least it was at the beginning. Nonetheless, look how beautiful this is for a Joe Pesci record. Right out of the front. We have something that looks absolutely immaculate. The pressing looks great. So it's somebody crazy that actually, I'm so bad at reading this, especially on clear and especially in this light. I think I see a BG. I might be crazy, but this might actually be a Bernie Grundman. Wouldn't that be ridiculous? Let's do an all analog AAA Little Joe Sure Can Sing. We don't know that that's what it is, but, I'm going to go on a limb and suggest that this is going to be a lot of fun to actually listen to. Part of the Light in the Attic series, the Nancy Sinatra series that they have been doing, really tremendous stuff. It's been absolutely exceptional to actually go through her catalog in depth. The stuff that she did with Lisa Hazelwood, of course, is sort of tops for me. But there's a bunch of these records that I frankly just have never had a chance to hear of. And there's tracks that even when I first did encounter some of them, such as Bang Bang from here, used famously by Mr. Tarantino, it gives a completely different mood and a completely different vibe. The fact that I have, half a dozen, this is 6, more than half a dozen Nancy Sinatra records and really don't have any Frank records. I might have one. You know, interesting, shall we say. I don't have any Frank Jr. records, for what's worth, although I do have Frank Jr. on The Sopranos, so I think that might count for something. Regardless, this is the latest from Light in the Attic. Less than 2 weeks after these boots are made for walking made it to the top of the charts, Nancy was back in the studio working on the follow-up. So this is the one that came right after Boots, part of the archival series. And this is pressed on orange cream wax as part of the RSD. That's what you get in the side here. I know the reflections are pretty bad, but we'll do what we can. I'm just going to crack this one open so we can see the color of the vinyl. I'm going to leave the shrink on for now until I take it off. Actually, I guess we do want to see the gatefold, so I will endeavor to do this in a way that I don't completely lose everything. Oh, that was actually more painless than I thought. I get ye old Obi, or at least side thing. I don't know, does it count as an Obi when it just sort of hugs it on the side? Nancy, how does that grab you? The back. Inside here, we have a booklet, which we'll get to, but look at that. That's that on the inside. Fabulous. We have a gatefold. Nothing in the front gatefold. And the other gatefold, again, it's a poly sleeve, not a line sleeve, but also with this gorgeous orange. It's sort of, I mean, this looks totally different on camera than it does in person, especially backlit. You see all these sort of suns, so it's this sort of peach color with these other colors of orange on it. It's actually quite lovely, especially put it up in the light and semi-transparent. It's a really lovely color with the Reprise, the old school Reprise label on it. Label, you know, shockingly owned by her father. Inside of this you have a thorough booklet. This Light in the Attic is so excellent about the stuff they do. Just absolutely tremendous interviews with her, details, era photos. Fantastic. Something I would have bought anyway, but to have it as an exclusive vinyl version, what's not to love? Then we have this. This is interesting. It was last Record Store Day, actually, when I was in Calgary. That's the shirt. I started picking up a bunch of Barkley James Harvest. Something that I'd been sort of plugging away when I was in Germany just a few weeks before that. And this was one of the ones that I didn't have a chance to actually pick up. I've been picking up some other pressings, but this is the Barkley James Harvest and Other Short Stories release on Esoteric Recordings. Mixed from the original master tapes by Stephen W. Taylor at Chimera Arts Box, Wiltshire. God bless. Cut by Christian Wright at Abbey Road Studios, London. So it doesn't say whether it's an analog pressing, but, you know, a newly remastered Record Store Day 2024 vinyl edition of this classic 1971 album, taken from original master tapes, so whatever that means, faithfully reproducing the original LP sleeve artwork and cut at Abbey Road, as it says there. This, again, I'm going to try to keep that sticker intact because of crazy. But just slide this open. See the inside. This is just a band that completely oblivious about until recently. Just one of the ones that just did not hit in my era of North America at all, like other bands. You know, Pink Floyd, everybody knows Pink Floyd, but I mean, I was in a bunch of the prog guys, etc. This is just a band that sort of slipped through, and it's been very interesting to actually dive into. You can see the inside, really nice gatefold, and the record itself is in a polyline paper sleeve with the little bit of hair on it, but other than that, some schmutz, but a pretty decent looking black vinyl release. I'll put it in the degritter, it'll clean up, it will be fine. So that is one. It was interesting. This is one of the ones that I got at Sonic Boom, and they had a bunch of post-its about the letters for the various records, and this was the one as B, and it was like there was only one copy because only one lunatic in Toronto was going to be the one to actually purchase this particular one. Elton John has been a huge proponent of the vinyl resurgence. His releases, a lot of them digitally sourced, have been unbelievably good fantastic sounding recordings. He's a big vinyl head himself, and it has been a real pleasure to see his catalog roll out. I was convinced I had rebought this already, but it wasn't in my Discogs. It's not on my shelf, so this is a fantastic way of me being able to pick up Caribou. Now, Caribou is really interesting because when they did the Super Audio CD releases of his early records, Madman, you know, the self-titled, etc., Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, they skipped over Caribou. I think they were going to go back and do it, but they definitely skipped over this. So I haven't listened to this record nearly as much as I have some of the other ones. But this has songs like Bitch Is Back, of course. It has Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Those are the big ones from this particular recording. But what's really interesting for me is that this actually has the bonus discs, and the bonuses include Pinball Wizard, his unbelievably fantastic version of Pinball Wizard. Of course, I have that on the Tommy original soundtrack, but to have it on the Elton John record is going to be interesting to actually compare how that mastering goes. You know, for people like me that care about such things. Bitch Is Back, new radio mix, Six City, Cold Highway, and then a demo of Snookeroo and Stinker the extended version. Classic Gus Dudgeon, classic Elton John. Perhaps not quite at the level of some of those other records, but there's some album tracks on here that are definitely, for me, worth exploring, and it is nice to have the sort of deluxe version of this that I can call my own. So as we crack this one open, and this is what I have, for example, a bunch of the Eltons that I bought got sort of trumped by the Record Store Day versions, and the bonuses are fantastic and absolutely, for me, well worth the purchase price or repurchase price. There's the inside of the gatefold, and we have here paper polylined sleeves, and what you get as part of the RSD exclusivity is a colored vinyl. So the sort of blue color, which matches nicely the album artwork. I have so many records I have to clean now. Guess I need some new distilled water. And inside, I assume the record, yeah, same color. Didn't mix it up very much, but nonetheless, two records, absolutely immaculate. Looks like it came from a clean room, not a glitch on it whatsoever. Absolutely spotless recording. No fingerprints, no nothing. Ugh. Isn't it nice when plans come together, or something to that effect? What else we got? We have this big guy. So this is the Talking Heads live at WCOZ or WCOZ, is WCOZ. Let's go with WCOZ 77. It's an American channel. Talking Heads live recording. This is a bunch of this stuff was previously released on, the name of the band is Talking Heads, their previous live record. So I guess 5 of the tracks or so were on that. And this is the full concert. It was originally, again, a radio style concert, but released on vinyl for the first time, all the other tracks. And this is one of those non-gatefold double pocket kind of things. So it's a single thing. And you can see inside here, I just pull out the 2 records, polyline paper sleeves. We have yet to have a single straight up paper sleeve. Call me happy right now. Yeah, records look great. Black vinyl, super simple. Little bit of marking on the inside, but nothing egregious. No fingerprints or anything nonsense like that. Oh. Lovely. Apparently this is mastered by the same person that did the new mastering of the Stop Making Sense. You can watch that video on this channel as well. And super simple. No booklet, no nothing. Just a very good collection of live music from Talking Heads, who are really getting, you know, justifiably attention sort of brought to them. Super excited to be diving into that guy. This was actually a challenge to get. I ended up finding a copy over at Rotate. This is the Genuine Imitation Life Gazette by Frankie Valli. I am so excited. This is exactly what I look for at a Record Store Day. This has been on my wish list, an original of this, for a while now. if I'm not crazy, the first time I ever heard any talk of this whatsoever was on the 500 Songs podcast, the Andrew Hickey thing. And this is just this wild, trippy, bizarre Frankie Valli and Four Seasons psychedelic record. I am so looking forward to diving into this in depth. I've actually waited to actually hear the whole thing until I could have it in a version. It's super ecstatic. I mean, the cover already makes it look aqualungy. The fact that this is Frankie Valli, I love the idea that this is what they were doing in terms of experimentation at the era. Because why not? I mean, you do stuff like Walk Like a Man and shtick like that. Why not have them just go a completely a unique direction within the context of the era? So let's pull this off gently and let's see how this actually behaves, because this might be one of those ones. Yeah, it is. It actually unfolds like this. So on the inside, you actually have it opening this way. Beautiful. I want you for U.S. Army, of course. Nearest recruiting station. The soul of a woman. Crazy, crazy. And then inside this pocket here, right on the inside, I don't know how I'm going to sleeve this. We'll figure it out. I guess I'll just do it as a straight up gatefold with this in the middle. We have our first of the egregious paper sleeves. So I'm going to go ahead and do my usual. This is what we do with paper sleeves. We do not slide the record out. We do not put pressure on it one more time. Already there's a bunch of paper embedded in it, but you know, it looks pretty clean considering. It's from our friends at Rhino. Of course it is. It's the kind of thing that Rhino really famously would do, sort of diving into the depths and actually finding interesting things to do. But yeah, I am ecstatic to be looking at something like this. I'm just going to pop it here without too much drama, and we'll deal with that on my cleaning rack. Okay, and then keep this so I will have my silly sticker for when we're going through that direction. Okay, we have Brother Jack McDuff. Ain't No Sunshine, live in Seattle. Jack McDuff, incredible organist. This is never before released, live 1972 recording from the Gallery in Seattle, deluxe limited edition, hand-numbered 180-gram 2LP set. Includes extensive booklet with rare photos, essays, and liner notes. Remastered audio transferred directly from the original tape reels of 80 minutes of music. And CD version also available. My version number is 1314 on the back. And yeah, Jack McDuff, unbelievable Hammond player. Super great musician. And definitely one to dive into. This is going to be a live record I'm excited to actually explore. 1972 is the year of my birth. Nice essay on the inside. And then the sleeves themselves. Boo. Paper-lined sleeves, or just paper sleeves rather. Rip it open, but the records themselves feel almost 200 gram. They feel super thick. So I don't know if that made better or worse inside the paper sleeve. But yeah, some smokiness, sort of milkiness on the outside. Again, that's going to go through the degrader, but it feels very substantial. The pressing feels like they spent some time with it. I'll just put this here without making too much complication, and I'm going to open the other one afterwards because it's getting harder to reach for this, but you can see another independent of the essay, another booklet included on the inside. Awesome. So much music to love. Welcome to Record Store Day. And again, I'm getting 3%, 4% of the releases today. Absolutely ridiculous. Here's another one that normally I wouldn't necessarily have plugged for, but I gave it a real quick listen beforehand. It's called the new Lamont Doherty. Excuse me. I keep trying to pronounce it like it's spelled. The new Lamont Dozier. Dozier? Thank you. Lamont Dozier album. Why am I getting that wrong? Because I'm on live camera. Lamont Dozier, Holland obviously made incredible music at Motown and subsequently at other studios. This is Love and Beauty, the 50th anniversary edition, expanded edition of Lamont's legendary album, Love and Beauty, featuring 5 bonus tracks appearing here for the first time on vinyl, including alternate versions, non-album single sides, and more, pressed on blue marble vinyl. So this is early 70s, 1974-ish soul music. Again, this is one of those pockety things as opposed to an actual gatefold that will have multiple things on the inside. And crack it open. We have, so instead of being just regular paper sleeves, we have the records themselves that are in these sort of printed sleeves. Not quite as egregious, still not ideal. They will definitely go in polyline sleeves. And you can see the color there. Really quite stunning. Full SA. The Invictus label. Great. Which is replicated here with the artwork on the inside. Why can't we be lovers? That's what the single pressing look like. And the same thing here. That sort of blue color. Lovely. Okay. In terms of one that I absolutely am ridiculous for having picked up, but you know, there are stranger things in my life than to have done this. Years ago, I was introduced to this. This is Gandalf, obviously named after the character in Lord of the Rings. This is a undated but non-first pressing. It's a particularly okay copy, SD121. I don't know, I paid probably 20 bucks for this. Manufactured by Capitol Records in the US. And it's this sort of psych folk wild stuff. But you can see with that Capitol label, that's the sort of later period Capitol label. I was a huge fan of this. And I was super excited to see that they were releasing on Record Store Day a version which may or may not be the definitive version. It's completely insane that I am getting an honest-to-God audiophile version of Gandalf. I will, you know, for fun, I might do a comparison video of the two. But here we are, the 1969 self-titled, full of dripping psychedelic pop, all analog processed from the original master tapes by Kevin Gray. Kevin Gray did a Gandalf record, and I love that he was like, you know, in the midst of him doing these jazz masterpieces, they're like, hey man, you want to do the Gandalf record? And that's okay. The artwork itself is interesting to actually compare the artwork. The artwork is weirdly, it's going to be very hard to see that on camera, but slightly more detailed, if anything. But the original sort of, you know, works different. It's just you're seeing the sort of airbrushy trippiness of it all. On the back, yeah, slightly, you know, pretty close. I'm always amazed. I mean, there'd be a whole thing. I'd love to see the people who are actually doing the restoration of a bunch of these labels about what assets they actually have with something like that. Whether they're just scanning an old record and cleaning it up in Photoshop forever. Regardless, this is one of the ones that got a pop music, limited edition of only 1,500. And this is one of those things. They say, for example, this is something really important. They say Record Store Day first all the time. These stuff that is not necessarily exclusive, but what might be exclusive is the color variant. But there's a bunch of records. I think somebody mentioned it on the Hoffman Forums, Life Aquatic being one, and that was one I'm obsessed about. I have a cat named Zissou, for God's sakes, that never got a traditional release. In other words, they do it in RSD first, and sometimes it never does come out, but we know we got it in RSD first. So this is one of those, you grab it while you want to have it kind of things. Others, you know, the date is very clear that it's coming on this particular time. Neil Young stuff is obvious. Like Neil Young will do things that are on RSD only. It'll be numbered and come with a poster, and then the regular version's coming out soon after. So here we are, Take the Trip. What else do we got in here, if anything? No, just that. Paper sleeve. Printed paper sleeve, and the record itself, let's try to get this out, is this wild green nonsense, sort of emeraldy kind of color. So yeah, that's Gandalf. Very, very, very excited to actually found that. I had to go to 4 stores in order to pick up Gandalf. You would think it wouldn't be that hard to find, but of course, nobody actually brought it in. And then the last one that I'm going to show you that I picked up for my personal collection, this one is a little bit insane that I even got it. I've barely even heard it. I know almost nothing about it, but I'm intrigued by this. I'm a big, big fan of people messing around with a bunch of music that's ostensibly meant for kids, particularly if it's incredibly melodic. This is the soundtrack to the documentary Butterfly in the Sky. Music from and inspired by the motion picture by the Octopus Project. Again, a band I don't super well know at all. They're very, very new to me, but I'm sort of interested in exploring whether or not this is something that sort of works for me. This is my total bonkers, I'm just going to go out on a limb and try something. And the hook for me is that the actual theme, the Reading Rainbow theme, is done in cooperation with the Flaming Lips. I'm a big Flaming Lips fan, particularly some of their later experimental stuff. So I am intrigued to see how this all comes together. And I am going to crack this open because this one is one of those really kind of wild packages that sort of, you know, makes it seem like if there's another release of this, a non-Record Store Day release, we're likely to get something a lot more conservative in the end. Let's see, pulling this out. So this is one of those outer sort of non-gatefold double box things that you slide out. Let's try to do this without killing everything here. Harder said than harder done than said, as it were. There we go. So as I slide it out, you can see that it's actually die cut, right? So the butterfly part here, die cut with the OB or whatever we're calling it, the sort of side OB. And then inside here, you actually have a nested gatefold, and with this beautiful foil, the colors are gorgeous. And as I open this up, I actually have a full butterfly. Completely insane. Just absolutely wild psychedelic packaging. Completely bonkers. Let's see how they actually wrap the records themselves. They are in, as feared, regular paper sleeves. But look at this splatter. I mean, this is wonderful sort of design. Absolutely great. And then on the inside of the second one, basically the same splatter there, so I won't bother opening that up. So that is Butterfly in the Sky, my sort of, you know, just deciding what the heck, I'm going to buy something that I don't even know how it's even going to sound, but I'm going to explore some new music, thanks to it being curated as part of Record Store Day. And then finally, we have here, this is the Kate Bush Eat the Music disc. This is pretty interesting to me because this looks like a regular picture disc, right? So you got white vinyl on one side and you got this, and a normal picture disc would just be sort of clear. But what this is actually done using this new, relatively new, it's new for me anyway, process that is the same thing that's done on the latest Dark Side of the Moon release. And I will have a video of that. I did pick that up the 50th, so please like and subscribe and you'll get a chance to see that video. But this is, as opposed to doing on regular picture disc, what you have is an actual vinyl record. I have to back up and explain some things, and I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. A regular picture disc is essentially a vinyl record like this, although normally 12-inch, and instead of the label just being in the middle, the label would go right to the side. So you'd basically have a 12-inch, or in this case a 10-inch label. It would then be wrapped in a thin plastic. Any of you who are used to those sort of things that would show up in books, like magazines or whatever, you get sort of a floppy flexi disc kind of thing. That's what's wrapped in. It's essentially like a thick saran wrap. And that's what gets pressed. In other words, the vinyl is the middle part, then paper, then this plastic nonsense. So I never understood as a kid about why pictures just sound like shit. And they sound like shit because they're not actually vinyl. They're this plastic stuff. And the better your system is, the worse picture discs actually sound. They're only for hanging on your walls, and even that I'm sort of slightly, you know, bemused by it, shall we say. But this is a totally different way of doing it, is that you have this is honest to God, on this side it's a record, it's a real record, it's white vinyl, looks cool, and on the white side where they didn't press, they then do this UV printing of that, so you can have literally the best of both worlds. What you can't do is have a two-sided record, right? I can't have any pressing on this because it's flat here in order for them to print on it. But essentially, as I said, this UV printing is essentially, I assume, just some sort of either screen or inkjet process that actually allows them to press the record, then put this through, and then print it this way, and you have the joy of a picture disc. When it's in your collection, you're seeing it, you can look at it, you can do whatever, but when you actually want to play the thing, this is the side you play it on. I love that. Why Kate Bush? Well, she's obviously had an explosion of interest thanks to things like Stranger Things, but she was also this year's ambassador. Elton John's been the ambassador before, other megastars. I think Taylor Swift was one year. But nonetheless, this is her. This was, you know, kind of a silly purchase. I believe I probably have these songs on the box set. I have to verify that. But nonetheless, I was sort of interested in the form factor and interested in actually giving this a look on this. And we'll see how it actually sounds. Eat the Music Lily and Big Stripey Lie. A Kate Bush EP as part of the celebration, as it says right there on the corner, of Record Store Day. So I hope you had a fantastic Record Store Day. I hope you enjoyed my sort of little opening session. There's plenty more that I managed to pick up again for other people, but I just wanted to sort of highlight the ones that actually spoke to my taste. We'll see how they all sound. There's certainly many, many more things that I could have picked up, but believe it or not, this is me, you know, being slightly cautious about what I'm actually spending the money on. Nonetheless, I genuinely hope that you had a fabulous Record Store Day. Every day is a day to actually be listening to records. Please let me know in the comments what you managed to pick up or wished you would have picked up, or any comments or complaints about either the video or the releases themselves. I'm Jason Gorber for ThatShelf.com. Thank you so much again for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. It really helps us a lot. Really, really look forward to engaging with you, and we will see you next video. All the best. Take care.
That shelf.